The 6 daily habits that help my well-being and are crucial for my health and happiness are: number 1, morning motto. Saying focus on the 24 hours ahead out loud grounds me in the present moment and helps me stay focused on the day ahead. Number 2, physical fitness. I'm addicted to endorphins because I have seen the positive effects it brings to my mind, body, and soul. Number 3, meditation. Instead of reacting to situations, I am able to respond appropriately because I'm in control of my emotions. Number 4, gratitude journaling. It is very easy to lose sight of all the good, and this habit puts everything into perspective and sets good intention for the day ahead. Number 5, intellectual stimulation. There's always room to grow, and I push to learn something new daily. And number 6, dieting. Feeding myself the right foods gives my body the fuel to operate at its highest level. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Today, episode 81. That's right, we're in the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting up high in these numbers pretty quickly. We'll be at 100 before you know it. Shit, we'll be at 1,000 before you know it. Can't wait. One step at a time. We're going to get there, though. Today, episode 81, 6 daily habits that help my well-being. These are crucial for my health and happiness. Have you ever taken a second to think about what helps make me happy daily? Whether it's a podcast you listen to, a group workout class you take a few times during the week, or maybe a book you read before falling asleep. What daily habits bring a smile to your face? Think about it. Do you make sure to do these certain tasks daily for your well-being, or do they just randomly happen and only sometimes? Have you noticed that the days you don't feel on your A game tends to be when you skip the workout, the midday walk, or journaling your thoughts? It didn't just appear overnight, but there are 6 daily habits that I do every single day that help my overall well-being. Are there days that I don't want to do them? Yes. But do I feel a difference when I create the motivation within me and show up to do them? Absolutely. Today, I want to dive into how these habits have helped my well-being and how they have all become crucial for my health and happiness. As we dive into today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, beautiful folks, if you enjoy this podcast at any moment in time, if there's any second during this podcast, you're like, shit, this bearded man knows what he's talking about. I make you smile. I make you laugh. Maybe you share it to a friend. If there's ever a moment you go, this is worth my time, all that I ask, please screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Babe, that's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Share it out on your IG story and tell the world why they need to be tuned in to the Bearded Man podcast. It is so greatly appreciated, and it's how we grow this podcast organically. I see all of you out there posting, and I love it. It gets me fired up. You don't see it behind the scenes, but when I see somebody sharing out on their IG, I'm like, let's go, let's go. I get all gassed up. So just know when you're doing that, my blood pressure is going through the roof for all the right reasons. So thank you for posting, and I greatly appreciate it. The 6 daily habits that help my well-being. Number 1, my morning motto. Okay, some of you that really follow me are thinking, oh, here we go again. You win the morning, you win the day. Pump the brakes, killer. Let's take it a step back. There's actually one other morning motto that I haven't posted and talked about as much, and as crazy as it might sound, I recite this to myself every single morning. It's the first thing that I tell myself when I wake up in the morning. Focus on the 24 hours ahead. I say this to myself when I wake up every morning like clockwork, baby, okay? I roll out of bed. I place both feet on the ground. I look at myself in the mirror across from me, and before I stand up, I take 10 seconds to remind myself of this. Now, why, you might be asking? Because it's easy to get caught up thinking about what happened yesterday or what needs to get done tomorrow, next week, or later this month. By me telling myself out loud, focus on the 24 hours ahead, I'm making myself a promise, a commitment that what is ahead of me today is the only priority that I have. How does this help my well-being? I am less anxious thinking about the never-ending to-do list that ultimately will never be done. There will always be another podcast to prep for, another email to respond to, a deck that needs to be reviewed, a call that needs to be scheduled. The list goes on and on. It will never, ever stop. By reminding myself that all I have to worry about and focus on right now is what is in front of me today allows me to give the day my absolute best. Great example is right now is recording this podcast. I am not thinking or worrying about anything else on that to-do list for today other than recording this podcast. And as soon as I wrap with this podcast, I will then focus on the next task, and then the next task. I can't even speak. And then the next task. But because I'm not distracted thinking about the past or the future, I can give this moment 100% of my time, energy, and attention. And by doing so, it allows me to be extremely efficient and effective, which makes me happy. I love getting shit done. Nothing makes me happier than looking back on a productive day and saying to myself, good work, bearded man. You crushed it. It helps me sleep better at night, and more sleep equals more happiness for Bobby. So number one is that morning motto, setting good intentions for the day ahead of me by telling myself, focus on the 24 hours ahead. Number two, physical fitness. Outside looking in, you may wonder, how does this man have so much energy? I credit a good portion of how is because of living a fitness lifestyle. So whether it's a morning run, an afternoon lift, a yoga session, or a hike through Malibu, they all help increase endorphins. Now, what is endorphins? What are endorphins? They are the chemicals produced by the body to relieve stress and pain. You better believe I Googled that. How do we create them though? A few different ways. One includes any type of physical activity. I don't know about you guys and gals, but after I finish up a run or after I finish up a workout or even during them, mostly specifically during runs, I got all this inspiration. I got all these thoughts brewing in my head. And it's because my endorphins are flying. The motivation's through the roof. My inspiration's through the roof. This endorphin Zimmy just gets everything going in motion. So I jumpstart my day with some type of physical activity. As you see me posting, you win the morning, you win the day. It's all about that morning routines and winning your day before you win anyone else's day or anything work related. And I really feel, truthfully, that sets the momentum for the day and helps carry me through that day. So how does this physical fitness help my overall well-being? One, it allows me to get the blood flowing. So I push my body, aka my vehicle, to get stronger. Number two, it gives me space to think and be detached from my phone and the world, which provides clarity. When these endorphins are firing up, I have so much inspiration. I have so much time to think. I'm disconnected from the world. I'm not checking emails or texts. I'm just focused on being in the moment. And number three, it teaches me lessons like consistency, accountability, and hard work that I can then apply to everything else that I do in my life. A great example of this is yesterday, I went out and ran the most amount of miles that I've ever ran in my life, 18 miles. Did it in 2 hours and 20 minutes at a 7-minute and 48-mile pace. Let's go. 12 months ago, I could barely run a mile. Right when the pandemic hit, started running, and I could barely get in a mile. And how did I get there? By consistently running, by holding myself accountable to do the work and to continuously show up and run as often as I could, and by just doing the hard work. And so I've taken these lessons that I've learned in physical fitness and I've applied them across the board to anything else that I'm doing in my life, whether it's this podcast, whether it's my job, whether literally anything. I apply the same lessons. Are there days I'm less motivated than others? Of course. Of course, there's some days I'm fired up for the workout and some days I'm like, I don't know if I really got it in me, but we're going to do it. When a habit becomes such an important part of your life, though, it becomes routine, like taking a shower or eating breakfast. It is non-negotiable. So that's how I feel about physical fitness. It has to be a part of my everyday life, or I feel like something is missing. If I don't get in that daily sweat, something's off. And some days are higher sweat where I go out and I run the 18 miles. I'm not doing that every single day. And then there's other days where maybe I just do a yoga session and it's not as high intensity and, there's sweat going everywhere. It's a little bit different, but I still push myself to get the heart rate up. And I just, to do that, some days I go harder than others, but ultimately I just listen to my body and listen, Do I keep pushing it, or do I go a little bit lighter on today? There's no better feeling than getting after it and a great workout to kick off the day, or even to finish the day, I should say. So without it, I feel lost and don't feel like I've won my day. Physical fitness is crucial to the bearded man. Number 3, meditation. Big meditation guy since 2016. Now, a daily habit is meditation for me. 15 minutes every morning after showering. No question about it. Got to do it. What got me into it was hearing successful people that I was inspired by say that it was a daily habit of theirs, especially early on in 2016 when I was just starting to get into the podcast game and I was listening to all these interviews and not only trying to study the craft of interviewing and podcasting, but I was also listening to these storytelling guests of really successful stories, I should say. And a common theme that I was hearing in a lot of these people, no matter their industry, their passions, or whatever they did, they found time to create space from the world and the craziness and have time to just think. And a lot of them did that through meditation. And so I go, well, if it's working for them, I should probably give this a try. So, like I said, hearing the success stories, I gave it a shot. If there's any hack or tactic that has helped me become less stressed, anxious, or reactive to situations, it is this. No questions about it. In the simplest explanation, meditation has taught me the power of my own breath and how by focusing on it, it can somehow help disappear the thoughts brewing in my head. How it helps my well-being. I'm less stressed when shit hits the fan. I just pivot accordingly. I don't think twice about it. I just continue to move forward. Much more aware of the present moment. I'm here right now focused on recording this podcast. My mind isn't anywhere else. Much more aware of my emotions and acknowledging the people or moments in my life that increase or decrease the emotions for the right reasons. And I'm laser beam focused when I'm getting ready for a podcast guest to arrive or tackling something else on the to-do list, because the meditation once again helps me stay focused on where I am right now in this very moment. Without a doubt, one of the most important practices I've incorporated into my life in the past 5 years. Anytime that I feel myself getting worked up or anxious or any other undesired emotion, I bring myself back to focusing on the breath, and it's a game changer. So breathe in for 2 seconds. 2. Breathe out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Namaste. Bada boom, baby. Number 4, gratitude journaling. One of the daily habits that is the newest, that I must say, to joining along the Bearded Man habit party. And this got incorporated into my life back in October. So every morning after eating breakfast and before starting my day of work, I spend about 10 minutes writing in my gratitude journal. I've talked about this in previous podcasts. I won't bore you with the template. If you really want the template, shoot me a DM and I'll send it to you. But I spend 10 minutes every morning writing in this gratitude journal. I had seen a friend of mine post her gratitude journaling template, and that's where the inspiration came in October. So I was like, hey, you know what? Why don't I give this a shot? I've heard great things from it. Why not try it? Now, 6 months later, I totally get why people do it, because I'm seeing the benefits from it. How does it help my well-being? It sets good intention for the day ahead of me. It grounds me and reminds me of all the people, moments, things that I should be grateful for that I so easily can take for granted if I don't take a moment to stop and appreciate it. It gets me excited for the small moments in my day, and it forces me to reflect and pick something positive that happened in the past 24 hours. I feel very, very fortunate to have this podcast medium because it's the place where I can vent and share anything that comes across my mind, and you beautiful folks take the time to listen to it. So I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Even if nobody was tuning into these podcasts, you better believe I would still be pumping out this content because it's my medium. It's a place for me to get the emotions and the feelings out of my head, out of my mind, and out there into the world. It truly makes me happy to do these podcasts, but it truly feels like a therapy session, a place for me to air out whatever is on my mind. The gratitude journal is that, but also it holds me accountable to take inventory of all the good that is happening in the day-to-day of my life. Not just the big wins or moments, but all the small moments along the way. It also provides a safe space to write about anything that comes across my mind and maybe something that I want to keep to myself. I'm pretty open, as you can hear it in these podcasts and the topics that I dive into. I'm an open book. I know that's kind of what I signed up for stepping into this podcast space, but also I love having this journal because if I really want to get into something that I don't think anybody wants to hear about, I can write about it in that journal. Ultimately, it gives me perspective and reminds me to be grateful for what I do have in my life instead of stressing and worrying about what I don't have. So that's number 4, gratitude journaling. Number 5, intellectual stimulation. Oh, baby, does this get me fired up? Whether it's listening to a podcast or an audiobook, reading, or having a great convo with someone, I need to continuously feed my brain on a daily basis. Okay? It needs to be on subjects or material that interest me and are helping me grow as a person. So some of these favorite subjects could be storytelling, productivity, podcasting, fitness, meditation, spiritual, current events, etc. Depending on the time of day or the day of the week, it may affect what I consume. But no matter what day of the week or time of day, I'm consuming something. I always want to be learning. So how does this help my well-being? I'm a curious person and recognize that there will always be room to grow. The best way to grow is by making a daily challenge to learn something new or even better understand a subject a wee bit better. Even when you think you're the master, you're not. Always the student, never the master. This mind, that we have, that we're all so blessed to have, it can process a lot. And I'm not someone who remembers word for word, but stimulating my mind with the right material changes the perspective. And there's certain bits and gems that will kind of stick in my mind for the long term. But overall, it is unbelievable how powerful these minds are that we have. Lastly, these are the subjects that I thoroughly enjoy learning about. So it does not feel like a chore or work when reading or listening to these subjects because I live for it. As many of you know, I have 1% tatted on my right hand as a daily reminder to push for that much growth per day. As long as I'm stimulating my mind just a little bit each and every day, I know that will compound with time and I will be smarter and more informed than I am today. So that's number 5, intellectual stimulation. The last piece, 6, dieting. Oh, baby, is this good? The other reason I have so much energy is because of the foods I eat on a daily and weekly basis. At some point in my life, it kind of clicked where I realized food is truly our fuel. And depending on what we put into our bodies will have a direct impact on how we think and feel, okay? So by me making a conscious effort to maintain a healthy and clean diet, I have seen this drastically impact my well-being. My mood, I feel energized, happy, and wholesome. My mind, I don't feel depleted, and my mind is always moving in the right direction towards dreams, goals, and my future. I'm excited about where I'm headed. My body, I feel fit even though the six-pack is still hiding. It's coming summer 2021. We've been waiting the last couple of years. It's time to get it out there for the folks, all right? Hold me to it. But ultimately, without fueling myself with the right fuels, these other daily habits would not help. They would, but it would not be as effective. So I don't want to downplay everything I've talked about and say, oh yeah, if I wasn't eating right, there's no way it would help me. It would help me. But I think because my inner self is being fueled with the right food, I think all of these other habits can really help me and be even more effective. So every diet is different, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you certain diets you should be on. I've tested and tried to see what works for me. What I've found, I need proteins, I need veggies, I need good carbs like rice, I need fruit, and I need a few other clean foods to help operate at my highest level. I eat the same meals at the same time every day because 1, I know how the food makes me feel. It makes me feel great. I'm energized. I feel light, ready to go. I'm going to keep eating those meals because of that. Number 2, I spend so much less time and energy thinking about what I want to eat because I already know. All that energy that is wasted debating, oh, do I want to cook this? Do I want to order out? Blah, blah, blah. I don't have that. That doesn't happen in my day because I already know what I'm eating and I know at what time. And I love the meal, so I'm excited to eat it. And then lastly, the way I look at it is, why would I want to disrupt a routine that is clearly working, right? If the machine ain't broke, don't fix it. You feel me? If I know these foods are making me feel good and I have the energy to do all the things that I want to do, why disrupt that? Why disrupt something that is working for me? So I continue to eat the same meals at the same time every day. Call me cray. It's okay. It works for me. I think we all have unique bodies, and food has different effects on all of us. But the one thing I know that is for certain is the food, aka the fuel that we put into our body, which is our vehicle, has a direct impact on the way you feel, think, and operate. So that was number 6, dieting. To recap, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't just wake up and get handed my perfect daily habits on a silver platter that was guaranteed to make me feel my best. I had to work and test them out to find out which worked for me. The 6 daily habits to help my well-being and are crucial for my health and happiness are: number 1, morning motto. Saying focus on the 24 hours ahead out loud grounds me in the present moment and helps me stay focused on the day ahead. Number 2, physical fitness. I'm addicted to endorphins because I have seen the positive effects it brings to my mind, body, and soul. Number 3, meditation. Instead of reacting to situations, I am able to respond appropriately because I'm in control of my emotions. Number 4, gratitude journaling. It is very easy to lose sight of all the good, and this habit puts everything into perspective and sets good intention for the day ahead. Number 5, intellectual stimulation. There's always room to grow, and I push to learn something new daily. And number 6, dieting. Feeding myself the right foods gives my body the fuel to operate at its highest level. Challenge for the listeners. I want you guys and gals to spend 10 minutes today, or even 5 minutes if that's all you got. You know what? 60 seconds if that's all you've got. And reflect on which daily habits make you feel your best. Not the 6 that I went through today. Maybe one of them, 2 of them, maybe all of them work for you, or you're curious in trying them. Please, please, please try them. But think about the daily habits that make you feel your best and ask yourself, am I prioritizing these habits, or do they just show up whenever I feel like I can squeeze them in? If they do help you, and if you find value in them, find ways to incorporate them into your daily schedule, and do not make excuses to not do them. Find ways to bring the things that bring you happiness and clarity and make you feel good. Find ways to make those daily habits, and do not make excuses and skip them. Questions from the BMC, from Jay. Do you notice a huge difference working out in the morning with how you feel daily? Absolutely, Jay. Through the process of figuring out morning routines, there was a time in my life where I didn't work out first thing every morning. It usually didn't happen until midday, and then I tried even doing, late evenings. I have found that it really sets the day, and it gives me some time to kind of allow my body to wake up before I start stepping into the work or whatever's on my to-do list for that day. So I have found that it really is a game changer for me. There has been some people that say, well, if I work out in the morning, I kind of feel tired the rest of the day. I get that. I think your body gets adjusted to it. And I also drink, 2 cups of caffeine every single day. So I think it is a huge difference for me working out in the morning. Has to be in the morning. Has to be when I first wake up. And it also feels good because I know I get this task of mine that I want to do daily. I get it out of the way immediately in the morning so that no matter where the rest of the day takes me, I got my daily win. So I do see a difference. Heather, is it bad to sleep in sometimes? No, it is not, Heather. I love how she puts sometimes. Of course, we have to cheat. We have to, like I said before, are there days that I'm always motivated? No. Are there days that maybe my body needs that day off and I need to not work out, whatever it might be? Or do I skip meditation? Or do I skip gratitude journaling? There's days you're going to need to allow yourself to give yourself that pass. I talked about this on a past episode where it's called the 2-day rule, where you never miss a habit or routine back-to-back days in a row. But you give yourself that room to take a day off when you need it the most. So Heather, if you want to sleep in, You got the pass from the bearded man. Sleep in as much as you feel you need to. I'm not here to tell you guys and gals how to live your life, but I'm just here to give you some tips and advice that I think could potentially help. So do I think it's bad to sleep in sometimes? Absolutely not. A little truth is on the weekends, I normally try my best, if I can, both days to not set an alarm. Sometimes it happens at least one of the two, depending on what the day looks like ahead. But I'm all for it. Give your body that rest, and I think sleep is really, really important. Pod review of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been getting some great podcast reviews. We'll be reading them every single week. Yeah, I love it. These are coming directly from the iTunes podcast app. So this is from Tuck Nasty. The subject is noticeably more productive. Love that. Gave the Bearded Man podcast 5 stars out of 5. Let's go. He said, when I'm listening to these podcasts on a regular basis, I am without a doubt exponentially more productive and motivated in all aspects of my life. Bobby gets your inner passion burning, regardless of what it may be. I consistently am sending his podcast out to friends, and I suggest you do the same. Let's go. Tuck Nasty, greatly appreciate the feedback, and yeah, that's awesome. I mean, if there's anything I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to add more fuel to the fire inside you, and yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see feedback like this, and greatly appreciate you sending any of these podcasts that resonate with you directly to your friends, because that's how we grow this podcast organically. If you guys and gals enjoyed this podcast, please, please, please take a moment today, screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Babe. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share it out on your IG story, share it with the world, tell them they gotta be listening to the Bearded Man. Or be like our boy Tuck Nasty from today's pod review. Go leave a review on the iTunes podcast app, and maybe next week you will be the review of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed episode 81, 6 daily habits that help my well-being. These are crucial for my health and happiness. A lot more content on the way. Stick with me. We're just getting started in 2021. Thanks for tuning in. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.